Hello, my convicts and convicts, just a designer convict bringing you guys and gals another video. This probably won't be very interesting, but I just thought I'd show you anyway and kind of talk about this and just show you obviously what's happening. So as you can see here, I've just run this test. It's been running for quite a while because you can see it's sent out 622 packets. It's received 622 packets. And how many is it lost? None. Zero. So there you go. If you ever do this test, also know that if you go to the tab at the top here where it is, you can actually right click in it and you can actually also export the text and you can actually give it a name. I've been just putting down the date and the time, so you can't put any sort of like special characteristics. Can I even speak? You cannot put any special characteristics, so you have to do it like this. So 1307. And then I put 23. And then what I do is I put the time. So it's 2023. As you can see, I've done a few above. If I save that and go here, and I'll show you the difference of another test that I've run here. So if I go to, where is it? Is it in documents? Is it in downloads? Where's it gone? It's over here. Right. So this one, is this one of them? I don't know if this is one of them or if this is one of the good ones. Well, this is one of the good ones. As you can see here, we did have a spike of 125 milliseconds there. But generally it stayed at 25. This is one of the good ones. Just to show you, this is one of the bad ones. So this is what's happening through the day. So when I'm coming through the day and I've told you about packet loss and I even showed that gameplay of the packet loss, this is what's happening, is request is timing out. So if you ever do this test and if it's just one request timeout and that's it, or maybe once every hundreds, couple of hundred, and then it does like a little timeout and stuff. Sometimes it can be because of the line or it's just a bit congested or something. But when it's like this and you get request timeout, then it does a couple, then it requests timeout, then it requests times out once again, then it does a couple, then it requests times out again, and then does a couple, then request times out again, then request times out again, then you've got a problem. This is obviously a bad connection. This is a very bad connection, and this is causing a lot of issues and problems. And as you can see here, it's doing it consistently throughout the whole test, just giving me bad connections. And as you can see from the test I've just done here, it's done 622, received 622, and how many is it lost? Zero. And that's been going for a long time. 622 packets is a long time to be running that test, and it's not any problem, any problems. And like I said, what I've done, I've noted here obviously the date, so that's the 13th of July, which is today. And obviously you can see what happened with the connection earlier, and this is my connection basically. And then we've got the 13th of July 23, and that was at 2023. As you can see, absolutely beautiful, no issues, no problems whatsoever, all through, no issues. Obviously a bit of a lag spike. I have not got Neduma on, by the way, just so you're aware. So we did get a couple of higher pings and stuff. This is obviously due to Rio playing on YouTube. He's got mute TV on YouTube and stuff. It could be notifications from your phone as well that can cause that issue as well. So, but generally you can see 25, 26 ping, 27. But it doesn't really change that much. And it only did spike once, a little bit of a slight spike there to 31. But in general, as you're going through it, it's not too bad. On there. But as you can see, there was a 125. But generally, what you want to try and do is make sure that the minimum and the average and the maximums are all the same or as close to each other as possible. So you want them around 24, 25 to have like a perfect connection. If I have my Neduma connected, Then it would be a little bit different. Just obviously to prove. I can move my camera. You can see here, table. This is where I put my NetDuma. Is usually here on the table, and then I've got my other one here on the table. Only my Zeexel, that's on there, and that Zeexel is what I got from the provider. So that's all I've got running at the moment. So there's no sort of like congestion control or anything happening to obviously make sure that connections and stuff or anything gets prioritized and stuff and things like that anyway. So but yeah, in general, you want to always try and get your ping to be around about the same. That's why I use NetDuma, because obviously a lot of the times if Rio's watching YouTube, YouTube can sometimes eat into the connection. And it's another reason why I like using such as like Opera GX here, because Opera GX, you actually have some features here on the left side. You can actually use, which is called GX control, and you can actually limit your network. You can limit your RAM. You can limit your CPU, and you can turn these on. And you just need to go into settings. If you do ever use Opera GX, just make sure you go into the settings and you add on, which is this one here, and you just go to, I think is it under GX? I can't remember if it's under GX. It's one of them you go under, and you basically want to make sure you turn on that it uses the settings you give each and every time you use it. I can't remember which one it's under. It's under one of these. I don't want to go through all of them because I'm not too sure what the other ones have. But under one of them, it'll have a little tab you can slide across, and it'll just say something about GX. It will make sure that the things that you change here, if you use it, will always be the same. I've got how to close it down, so yeah, if you ever use GX control and you put these limiters on and stuff and you limit them, you can get it so GX will do it each and every time you open it. It will turn them on or leave them on. Because if you use it, turn it on, then close GX, open GX, it will actually cancel. It will go back to default of having it switched off. But yeah, if you've not used Opera GX, I definitely recommend it. I don't really think it's too much of a bother if you're using it for just gaming and you're just gaming. But if you're like me and you use it for speech chat and stuff, or you've got things running in the background and things like that, then it is kind of cool to have that feature. Or if you've got your Twitter or whatever linked to Opera GX and you've got GX open, it could be using things in the background. So having something like that to limit your speeds and say, right, no, you can only have one down, one up, that's all you're getting, then obviously you can do that and make sure that you keep your connection or everything on your PC running at its bare minimum and making sure it's nice and nice and clear for games and gaming. Obviously, if you got your gaming on there in the tab and you've gone to gaming and you've got that turned on and stuff, that should prioritize games over everything else anyway, and always make sure you've got on there. One thing I did say here that I want to obviously repeat as well for Raf. So Raf is having a few problems with his connection. He's getting 15 ping, but Raf said he's feeling like he's having to deal half a clip into people to kill them, even though he's on full fiber now, which is kind of insane for someone who's on a fiber connection that they're having problems. What I would probably suggest you could try and do, Raf, is, and I've already written this to you, but I'm going to repeat it anyway for anyone else wants to try. If you ever think it's your home connection or anything within your home that is a problem, then there's a couple of things you can actually do to test your home network and just double check, make sure everything's running as it should do on your home network. Because the latency or the milliseconds between a ping from any device in your home should be more or less 0 to 1 millisecond. There should be literally no time at all for that information to travel from either your routers and your PC and stuff. One way you can test your Ethernet cables, make sure that they're running as they should be, is to run a quick ping test. So you just type in the word ping then put the line, then put the word T. This will basically make the ping continuously run. All you need to do then is hold Control and tap C to stop that, and that will stop the test from running. But what you need to do then is put in IP config before you put ping in ping T. So you do this, you go up, IP config, press enter, and it'll bring up a list of all your IPs. I'm not going to do it because obviously it shows things I'm not supposed to show. But if you go in there, the two things you want to look for is your IPv4 address and the one that comes under default gateway. Yeah, IPv4 address will be like what's get assigned by your router to your PC, your device. And the default gateway is generally your router that you use to log in, which could be, like mine is 192.168.1.1 for my Ziegzel. And if I've got my NetDuma connected, it's 192.168.77.1. And that's how you log into these two routers. And that's your default gateway that you can test. And then you've got your IPv4 address that you can also test as well. I'm not going to show you the IPv4 address. Again, it's showing something. Obviously, I would have to change my IPv4 address if I did that. I'm just going to show you an example like the gateway. So again, just type in what I've said, the ping -T, and then put in your default gateway. Now, I've not got my NetDuma connected, so there's no point me trying to ping my NetDuma because my NetDuma is not connected. So once you've done this and you've put that in and you've put in your address, then you can press enter and you should be able to get it. And this is what you should be getting. You should be getting 1 millisecond. Let it run for a while and just see if there's anything that goes on in your connection. But you should be literally on 1 millisecond because that's how quick it should be to go from your router to your PC. If you're getting and your Ethernet connected, if your Wi-Fi, it will be different because Wi-Fi is different. If you're Ethernet connected to your PC, so hardwired, you should be on 1 millisecond. If you're getting higher than 1 millisecond or between maybe 1, 2, or 3 milliseconds, anything above that would be like a Wi-Fi connection, which could be like between 5, maybe 7 milliseconds. If you're getting down an Ethernet connection, there could be a problem with your Ethernet because you shouldn't really get more than 1 millisecond is what you should be getting, or 0 milliseconds. So if I press control, hold the control down and now tap C, that will end the test. And as you can see here, the minimum is 0, the maximum was 1, the average is 0, and there was no packets lost. So these kind of things you can check on and just make sure, are all the packets being sent? Are they all being received? Was there any loss? If there was a loss, then there's a problem with your Ethernet or with your adapter. And obviously, if you're getting, like I said, anything above 1 millisecond or anything above a couple of milliseconds, between 1 maybe 3, I don't really think you should even get 3. It should be like 1 or 2 milliseconds. If you're getting anything higher than that, it could be your Ethernet cable, and you may need to upgrade your Ethernet and make sure you just got a new Ethernet. Maybe that Ethernet's old or it's a very low category Ethernet. Especially for RAF, you will probably need a really good Ethernet or a much higher Ethernet now because your speed should be able to carry that. And obviously, you want to have the fastest possible Ethernet to carry that signal across and then over onto the fiber optic side and run it out into the thing. Also, Raf, if you do that test I was showing you before, the one where you test the DNSs and run that test for them, that again will show up if you've got any like packet loss. If you're having any issues with packet loss, I would definitely recommend doing that again, where you go here and then just type in an address like I've got this 1139, and then just run the test and just leave it for a little bit, come back and just see what happens. And if you get any sort of packet missing, any packets that say request invalid or request not found or whatever it's called, where it times out. I think it says request timed out is what it says. As you can see now, because obviously Openreach has stopped messing with my line, I've got really good connection. Everything's working as it's intended to work. And Rio's not on his phone at the moment, so I shouldn't really get any high pings or high spikes in pings. on here. Right, I'm gonna stop it here. So hold control. I don't know what country is, but hold control, tap C to stop the test. Remember, hold control, then tap C, and that will stop this test. And you can see here my maximum and minimum. This is what you want to have. You want to have it within a margin of 2 or 3 milliseconds between each one. You want them all to be within like 2 or 3 milliseconds. If you get them all the same and say 24, 24, 24, and that's how it stays constantly, you've got a very good connection. If it floats a little bit, then it could be just some running maybe in the background, or maybe phones are updating or something like that. These kind of things obviously can affect connections and stuff, so just be aware, which is hence why I use like a net doomer, which is like, again, not connected as of this moment in time. But yeah, run that test on there, run it on the IPv4. Again, you should get a 1 millisecond. You shouldn't really get more than that, and that should be good. And give it a test and see what happens. That's what should happen. You should be good after that. And like I said, Raf, if you're having any other problems, let me know. If any of those do pop up and you say, oh, my Ethernet is doing that, then obviously you may need to go get another Ethernet. Also try not to get an Ethernet that's too long as well, like a really, really long Ethernet. You want to try and keep them as short as possible. You don't need to like be insanely short with them, but you know, the shorter the connection, obviously the faster that connection can travel to and from. To be honest, Ethernet, if it's connected by Ethernet, shouldn't really make a difference. Even if it was like a 200-meter cable, it shouldn't really make that much of a difference in terms of the speed going from one to the other. 1 to 40 would have made much of a difference. If it being Wi-Fi, like I said, that's one that can be heavily affected by it. Excuse Rio. Rio loves this, loves that. He loves that controller thing. He won't play it. He won't play that if I put it on for him, but I would need the camera for it. But he does love watching the video to that. So yeah, that's running in the background there. But yeah, hopefully that helps out, Raf. Try that, see what happens. See if that helps you out at all. See if there are any problems there. Other than that, if you're still having issues beyond that, then it is weird that your hit detection's not working, or you're putting like half a clip into someone or a full clip into someone and still not winning fights. It's really bizarre that that's happening. All I can suggest is run these 2 tests, and this will kind of at least weed out any issues. Obviously, this kind of test runs to your config from home. So your IPv4 addresses, so anything within your home that's connected to Ethernet will run. Obviously, this is that test. And the other test, like I've shown you with the DNSs, where you're running to maybe Google or anywhere else and what have you. Just, it can be any DNS you want. It doesn't specifically have to be the best DNS, but whichever DNS, or if you know the DNSs you use, then just type them in, and then obviously run that ping test on them and give them, just leave it for maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes and see, and then come back to it, and then stop the test by holding Control, tap C. So remember, hold Control, tap C to end the test, and then to see if that comes up with any fluctuations or anything that's inconsistent. It should fluctuate just a little bit like it's done here, like it's 25, 27, but you want it in a margin of maybe 2 or 3. You don't want to be going too much higher, like I had that one of 100 odd on the other test, which is not great, but that could be, like I said, if Rio's using YouTube and stuff, that could affect the test, hence why there's a problem. But your home connection should be 1 millisecond, and then these connections, obviously DNS, should be as fast as possible. And like I said, there should be a slight margin of difference between connection. If your connection is very quiet, then you should only have a small margin of change between connections. If you've got obviously a lot of people using your connection, then that could be a issue, which is obviously affecting stuff. And if you haven't got such as like a quality of service kind of device to obviously make sure that it's keeping on top of pulling all connections down, making sure that only gaming and that's prioritized. I don't know if there's a way you can do it to obviously prioritize pinging stuff like this, but you should be able to obviously stop the connections like mobiles and that from overrunning on your system and whatnot. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully this helped out. I just kind of wanted to show you that I'm not going crazy, that it is obviously the fact that BT, because at the moment now it's nearly 9 o'clock, that in fact it's BT doing the work that's causing me the issues that I'm getting. So there's not a great deal I can do about it. I'll probably have to get up tonight and do a couple of recordings and stuff to cover. Rio is off school also tomorrow because it's teachers training day, so no school for him tomorrow. And then one more week next week, and then he's off again. I think he's off for 2 weeks at that point. He'll be off for the holidays again, so again that'll be a time where I'll have to end up getting through the night and trying to do videos where I can and see what I can do. Obviously, as you all know how that normally goes, I will try and do them as best as I can and get as much done as I can, you know, with the time I have. Hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but we'll soon see. And obviously if I can record while Rio's here and his mum's not here, then obviously we'll excuse me, knocking my microphone, then I will try and do that. Anyway, hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully that gives you a bit more insight, Raf. Let me know if there's any problems that do arise from you doing these two tests. So number one, do the test at the top, which is obviously running your test on your IP address on your default gateway, which is, like I said, Zeexel is that one. And then you've got the NetDuma, which is 192.168.77.1. Just find out by putting IP config, and I'll tell you. And then just look for where it says default gateway. Write that number down. Also write down the IPv4 address because that's the address you get assigned by the router. And test that one as well and see what that comes out as. Also, if you do have two separate routers, take one off. Put just your normal router on. Take the other one off. Run the test on the first one. See how that fares with the Ethernet, then put the other one on, run a test on that one, and obviously test both of them and just see if there's anything on there. Normally, if you've got your NetDuma NAT and your router connected, like I do, I normally have it connected through DHCP because the NetDuma doesn't like the bit where you put it as a PPOE, where you basically bridge mode it to a NetDuma. It's not generally like that. It doesn't generally like it. So if you run the test, you can put in your default gateway of your home router, modem slash router, and you can test that one. And you can test the NetDuma at the same time because it's just obviously entering that default gateway in 2 minutes. So anyway, I'll go. He wants me to mess about with going on to Blooming Share Factory and putting the video on. So I'll leave it here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It is Convict signing out. As always, I salute you, my convicts, convicts, and I'll see you in another video. Hopefully that helps you out, Raf. Salute to you and salute to my elites. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much for the help and support. For paying the $1.99, I truly, truly appreciate you. Thank you very much. You are amazing. Thank you. Bye for now.